He had two women in his life, one who loved him when he had nothing, and one the world admired when he had everything. So he made a choice. He chose the one who looked perfect and let go of the one who was real. But months later, when he tried to find her again, she was gone. And this time, there was no way to get her back. Ethan Cole stood in front of the glass wall of his penthouse, the city of Los Angeles glowing beneath him like it belonged to him. In many ways, it did. At 32, he had built an empire people twice his age couldn't touch. Behind him, music pulsed through the room, laughter, glasses clinking, cameras flashing. Another night, another celebration. Ethan. Vanessa's voice cut through the noise as she walked toward him, effortlessly commanding attention. Her dress shimmered under the lights. Heads turned. She wrapped her arm around him like she belonged there. "Why are you hiding?" she asked with a playful smile. Ethan smirked faintly. "Just thinking." "Dangerous," she teased. "Come on, people are asking for you." Before he could respond, his eyes drifted across the room, near the far end of the balcony. Sophia stood quietly. No spotlight, no attention. Just present, watching him. Not demanding, not performing. Just there. Their eyes met, and for a brief second, the noise disappeared. Vanessa followed his gaze and smiled slightly. "Oh," she said under her breath. "Her." Ethan didn't respond. "Still keeping her around?" Vanessa added, not bothering to hide the tone. Ethan finally looked away. "Let's go," he said. And just like that, he chose the noise over the silence. That night, long after the party ended, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat alone, staring at his phone. Then, without thinking, he opened an old photo. Him and Sophia. Years ago, before the penthouse, before the empire. They were sitting on the floor of a tiny apartment, eating takeout from a plastic container. Sophia laughed in the picture, head thrown back, completely unguarded. "You look ridiculous," she'd said back then. "And you love it," Ethan replied. She smiled. "I love you." That memory hit differently now. Back then, she believed in him, not the billionaire, just him. Ethan locked his phone, and for a moment, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Uncomfortable, because deep down, he knew something had changed. And it wasn't her. The next morning, Sophia stood in the kitchen, making coffee. Ethan walked in, adjusting his cufflinks. "You're up early," he said. "I couldn't sleep," she replied. He nodded, distracted. "Sophia," she looked at him. "Yes?" He hesitated. "You were quiet last night." She gave a small smile. "I didn't think I needed to compete." That made him pause. "It's not like that, isn't it?" Her tone wasn't angry. That made it worse. "I just don't fit into that world anymore, Ethan." "You do," he insisted. She shook her head gently. "No. I fit into the world you had before." Silence. Heavy. Honest. And for the first time, Ethan didn't know how to fix it. A week later, Ethan hosted a high-profile business dinner. Investors, media, important people. Vanessa sat beside him, effortlessly playing her role, laughing at the right moments, touching his arm just enough, saying all the right things. Sophia sat across the table, quiet, observing. At one point, an investor leaned forward and asked, "And you are?" Sophia smiled politely. "I'm..." Vanessa cut in smoothly. "Oh, she's just a friend. She helps out sometimes." The table nodded, already moving on. But Ethan didn't miss it, and neither did Sophia. For a brief second, their eyes met. There was no anger, no embarrassment, just understanding. She had just been erased, and Ethan said nothing. That silence, it said everything. That night, the penthouse felt colder than usual. Sophia stood near the window, arms folded. Ethan walked in. "You left early," he said. She nodded. "Yeah." A pause. "You didn't say anything," she added. "About what?" She turned to face him. "About her calling me just a friend." Ethan exhaled. "Sophia, it wasn't that serious." Her lips parted slightly, like she wanted to say something deeper, but instead, she just nodded. "Right, not serious." That hurt more than if she had shouted, because it meant she was starting to give up, and Ethan could feel it. But instead of fixing it, he let his pride take over. "You're overthinking this." That was the moment the crack became real, because Sophia didn't argue, didn't defend herself. She just said, "Okay," and walked away. Days later, Vanessa stood in Ethan's office, flipping through a document. "You trust her too much," she said casually. Ethan looked up. "Who?" "Sophia." He frowned. "What about her?" Vanessa leaned against the desk. "She doesn't belong in your world, Ethan. People notice that." "That doesn't matter." "It does," she replied softly. "You've built something powerful. You can't afford weak links." That word sat wrong with him. "Weak?" he repeated. Vanessa shrugged. "Emotionally, maybe. She doesn't push you forward. She just stays." Ethan didn't respond, but the seed was planted. And Vanessa knew it, because she smiled slightly before walking out. And from that moment on, Ethan started seeing Sophia differently, not because she changed, but because someone told him she wasn't enough. A few nights later, Ethan attended a major charity gala. Cameras everywhere, press lined up. Vanessa walked beside him in a stunning red dress, turning heads instantly. Flash, flash, flash. "Ethan, over here!" He posed, smiled, played the part. Then, a voice from the crowd. "Is that your girlfriend?" Vanessa didn't hesitate. She stepped closer, placing a hand on his chest. "Yes," she said confidently. The cameras exploded. Ethan froze for half a second. Just half a second. But it was enough, because across the room, Sophia saw it. She stood there, unnoticed by everyone else, watching the man she loved publicly choose someone else. And this time, he didn't correct it, didn't explain it, didn't look for her. That was the moment something inside her finally broke. That night, Sophia was already packing when Ethan got home. A small suitcase. Nothing dramatic, nothing chaotic. Just quiet finality. "What are you doing?" he asked. She didn't stop folding her clothes. "I think you already know." He frowned. "Sophia, I saw it," she said calmly. He paused. "It didn't mean anything." She let out a soft breath. "That's the problem, Ethan." Now she looked at him. "None of this means anything to you anymore." "That's not true." "Then what am I to you?" she asked. The question hit harder than anything else. Ethan opened his mouth, but nothing came out, because he didn't have an answer. And she saw it. That hesitation was everything. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice stayed steady. "I stayed when you had nothing," she said. "I believed in you when no one else did." A pause. But somewhere along the way, her voice softened. "You stopped seeing me." Silence filled the room. Heavy, suffocating. Then Ethan said the worst thing he could have said. "Maybe we've outgrown each other." That was it. No shouting, no drama, just truth. Sophia nodded slowly. "I hope she gives you everything I couldn't." And this time, her voice broke, just a little. Then she picked up her suitcase and walked past him. Ethan didn't stop her, didn't reach for her, didn't say a word. And just like that, he lost her. For real this time. At first, everything felt exactly the way Ethan expected. Vanessa moved into the penthouse within a week. The space that once felt calm became louder. More events, more people, more noise. Every night was something. A party, a dinner, a launch. And Vanessa thrived in it. "You're too serious," she laughed one evening, pulling him toward a group of guests. "Relax. This is your world." Ethan smiled, played along, held her hand when cameras appeared, kissed her cheek when people watched. Perfect. Everything looked perfect. But late at night, when the music stopped, when the lights dimmed, when it was just him, something felt off, too quiet in the wrong way, too empty. He'd sit on the couch, staring at nothing, and without trying to, his mind would go back to a smaller apartment, to quiet nights, to someone who didn't need a crowd to feel close to him. He shook the thought away. This is what he chose. So why didn't it feel right? One evening, Ethan walked into the living room and found Vanessa pacing, frustrated. "They delivered the wrong car," she said, annoyed. Ethan blinked. "What?" "The interior is the wrong shade. I told them beige, not ivory." He stared at her. "They can fix it," he said. "They better," she snapped. "I'm not paying that much for something that's not perfect." Ethan nodded slowly, but his mind wasn't there anymore. Later that night, they sat at dinner. Expensive restaurant, private table. Vanessa scrolled through her phone, barely looking up. "Did you sign the transfer?" she asked. "What transfer?" "The one I sent you this morning." He frowned. "For what?" She looked at him like it was obvious. "My new business account." "How much?" She sighed. "Ethan, it's not a big deal." "How much?" he repeated. $5 million. Silence. Not shock, not anger, just clarity. Sophia never asked for anything. Not once. Not when he had nothing. Not when he had everything. She just stayed. Vanessa finally looked up. "Why are you staring at me like that?" Ethan leaned back slowly, and for the first time, he saw everything clearly. This wasn't love. This was convenience. And suddenly, he felt the weight of what he had lost. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., he picked up his phone and searched for Sophia. Her number, disconnected. Her old apartment, gone. He drove there anyway, empty, like she was never there. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. He asked around. No one knew anything. It was like she disappeared. And that scared him more than anything else. Because for the first time in his life, he couldn't fix something with money. He couldn't call someone, couldn't buy his way back. One night, sitting alone in his penthouse, he whispered to himself, "Where did you go?" No answer, just silence. The same silence he once ignored. Now it was all he had. 6 months later, Ethan walked into a quiet cafe for a meeting. He wasn't even paying attention until he saw her. Sophia, sitting by the window, a laptop open in front of her. Focused, calm, different, but still her. His heart stopped. "Sophia?" She looked up. For a moment, surprise crossed her face. Then it softened. "Ethan." He walked closer, almost unsure. "Can I sit?" She nodded. Silence settled between them. Not awkward, just unfamiliar. "I've been looking for you," he said. She tilted her head slightly. "Why?" That simple question hit harder than anything else. He swallowed. "I made a mistake." She didn't react immediately, just watched him. Carefully. "Did you?" she asked. His chest tightened. I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought that life was everything. And now? He looked at her. Honest this time. Now I know it wasn't. A pause. I miss you, he added quietly. I miss us. Sophia's eyes softened for a second. Just a second. Then she leaned back slightly. I loved you when you had nothing, Ethan. He looked down. I would have stayed, she continued, even if you lost everything. Her voice didn't shake, but it carried weight. But you couldn't love me when you thought I had nothing. Silence. Heavy. Final. Ethan whispered, Can we fix this? Sophia smiled, not bitter, not angry, just at peace. No. That one word broke him. You didn't lose me, she said gently. She closed her laptop, stood up. You let me go. Ethan sat there, frozen, watching her, hoping, just hoping, she would turn back. But she didn't. And this time, he understood. It wasn't pride. It wasn't anger. It was over. For real. And as she walked away, Ethan finally realized something he should have known all along. He didn't lose her when she left. He lost her. The moment he stopped choosing her, Ethan didn't leave the cafe. Even after Sophia walked away, he sat there, frozen, like his body refused to accept what just happened. Minutes passed. Then suddenly, he stood up, rushed outside. Sophia! She stopped, but she didn't turn immediately. That hesitation alone said everything. When she finally faced him, her expression was calm, too calm. I wasn't done, he said, slightly breathless. She studied him quietly. You were, she replied softly. No, he shook his head. Not this time. A pause. I didn't fight for you before, he continued. I didn't speak when I should have. Didn't choose you when it mattered. His voice lowered. But I'm choosing you now. That line hung in the air, heavy, dangerous, because for a second, just a second, her eyes softened again. And that's what made this harder. Sophia took a slow breath. You think this is about now? She asked. Ethan frowned slightly. It's not, she continued. It's about every moment you made me feel invisible. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp, honest. And the worst part? She stepped a little closer. I stayed. I kept hoping you'd see me again. Ethan swallowed, guilt creeping in. I was there, Ethan, she said. Not when you were winning, but when you were struggling. A pause. You didn't lose me in that cafe, she added quietly. You lost me little by little. Every time you chose someone else over me. Silence. No defense. No argument. Because she was right. And they both knew it. For the first time, Ethan didn't try to fix it, didn't interrupt, didn't defend himself. He just listened, really listened. And that's when it hit him. This wasn't a moment he could win back. This wasn't a deal or a mistake he could reverse. This was consequences, real ones. I thought I had time, he admitted quietly. Sophia's expression softened slightly. Everyone thinks that, she said, a faint, sad smile. Until they don't. The wind brushed past them, carrying silence with it. And in that silence, Ethan finally understood something that changed him. Love isn't lost in one moment. It's lost in all the small ones you ignore. Sophia stepped back. Not far. Just enough. I don't hate you, she said gently. That surprised him. I just outgrew waiting for you. Those words landed deeper than anything else, because they weren't angry. They were final. She looked at him one last time. Not with love, not with pain, but with peace. Take care of yourself, Ethan. And this time, when she turned, He didn't call her back, didn't chase, didn't beg, because now he understood. Some people don't leave loudly. They leave quietly, after giving you too many chances to notice them. And by the time you finally do, they're already gone. For good. If this story pulled you in and kept you watching, then you're exactly the kind of person this channel is for. Go ahead, subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't miss the next story.